This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. It's a season of wonder all the way at Nordstrom. You'll find the best gifts for everyone you love, plus party-ready looks for every occasion. It's easy with free shipping and returns, in-store order pickup, and more. Shop today in stores and at Nordstrom.com.
This is a Bramble Jam podcast.
Welcome to Girls Gone Hallmark, a Hallmark review podcast. I'm Megan, and I'm a longtime Hallmark fan.
I'm Wendy. I'm a former Hallmark hater.
Today, we are discussing Holidazed, Episode 1, a series that is exclusively streaming on the Hallmark Plus platform. Find more from us when the podcast is over by following us on Instagram, y'all. We are Girls Gone Hallmark.
Definitely follow us on our Instagram, because now that the countdown to Christmas season has concluded, we're going to relaunch our annual Best Christmas Movie bracket. It's such a good time.
It is so fun.
It happens all on Instagram.
And I do feel like in the past year, my favorite part about the Countdown to Christmas bracket is when the people involved in these movies really start to champion them. The writers, the directors, the actors. And I think we've built up a lot of relationships over the last year that should make that a really good time. Also,
I agree.
The other thing is, you should know that we are recording this a little bit early, but every year I feel like there's a clear winner. I think we're going to have some split votes here. Like, you can't have Holiday Touchdown and Three Wiser Men and a Boy and The Christmas Quest. I think we might have an actual challenge on our hands.
We might. And it also depends on like where they get put in the bracket. Like,
yes,
it could be early where like Holiday Touchdown and Three Wiser Men go against each other.
True.
I'm just making an example here.
We have not seeded the bracket yet.
No, and it's all random when we do it. It's so much fun. I just love the engagement from followers and, like you said, from like people involved in these movies. It's a good time, and I'm glad that it's like an annual thing for us now.
Yes, me too. The format of Holidays is a little bit unique in that episode 1 is a little bit of a mismatch chaos of introducing all of these families. And then the subsequent episodes dive into their individual stories. And so we're going to spend a little time in this episode, a little first impression style, meeting the families, finding out what we know in this first episode, trying to untangle the web of characters.
Exactly. And if you guys follow us on Instagram, you saw Megan was like, oh my God, there are 66 characters. How are we going to do this? And if you are regular listeners of our podcast, we usually do like a lot of like background on the actors. We're not going to do that in this episode simply because there are so many.
Let's dive in. Episode 1.
Here is the synopsis. The episode is called The Beginning. A neighborhood of families rush home for the holidays, ready to share the chaos and joy of this season.
I gotta say, like, as soon as we opened on this scene and there's like narration and they're driving down the street, I'm like, I'm all in. This is so exciting to me.
Yeah, I thought like the production of it was elevated compared to some things we see. I've been really impressed with stuff that's coming off of Hallmark Plus.
As have I.
Maybe not everything, but most of it.
Well, yeah, I hear you. We don't know which came first because Holidays was in the can. Like, Holidays was shot. It's been done. I don't know how done it's been, but it was worked on for a long time. And so I don't know if Hallmark Plus was in the works when Holidays was shot. But part of me is like, I'm loving the stuff on Hallmark Plus, but I'm also like, put it on linear because not as many people are seeing it.
They will. This is going to end up on linear probably during the summer.
True.
Or next Christmas. I don't know.
True.
Who knows? So there's a narrator at the top of this episode, and this is not verbatim, but he's explaining how every year it begins like everybody's planning for the perfect holiday season, like the ones that we see on the holiday card or in the movies, and then says, just like everything else in life, the holidays never turn out like we planned. So I thought this was a pretty good setup for the series. Like it's telling you we're not gonna get what we think we're gonna get here.
Agree. We start to meet the families, and tell me what you wished for as we're like getting introduced to them.
Sure. I wish we needed some sort of nameplate on the screen. Like, who are we talking about? Is this the Smith family, the Jones family? Like, I'm so confused when this episode starts because there's so many people. And to keep everything straight, I think it would have benefited the viewers if we saw like a name.
Yeah, we're like, who are these people? Yes, I agree. And almost I would have loved like a little animation of the street with like the name over their house and like where their house is on the street.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great idea.
I do want to say, like, I was watching this with my husband, and Dennis Haysbert is one of the very first people we see on screen. And my husband goes, "Is that Jobu of Major League?"
Oh, wow. That's a deep cut.
I was like, that is Jobu.
I was like, that Dennis Haysbert is like, I don't know, those CBS shows like that he does. You know what I'm talking about?
100%.
And the insurance commercials, Geico, one of them. I don't know.
Yes, he's got that insurance commercial voice.
I love that voice. Yes, I do love that voice.
All right, let us meet the families.
I'm gonna let you tackle this one.
Oh God. Okay, our biggest family is the Minetti Hanahan family, and I just want to tell you that when we first meet them, they're out front Griswolding their house. One of the neighbors is like looking out the window like they're just done with them, and he goes, "A bucket lifter." He rented a bucket lifter. And I just want to tell you that I have a neighbor who every year rents, we call it a cherry picker, but same thing, in order to help with the neighborhood holiday lights. So this was relatable to me. This family is pure chaos. It honestly stressed me out a little bit to watch them. My husband's like, "Oh, this is Christmas Vacation on Hallmark," because it's the same, like the kids are all coming home and you have dad who is played by John C. McGinley. His name is Chuck Minetti Hanahan, and his children start coming in. So his son, Clark, and daughter-in-law, Rebecca, and they're like the complete antithesis to everything that Chuck believes. Like, Chuck's Fox News and burgers, and they're like crunchy vegan MSNBC watchers. And this just sets up the conflict. Like, you already know that these parents are going to be like, "What do you mean they can't have a hot dog? What do you mean you can't have X, Y, and Z? Like, you're a vegan. Here's a grilled cheese." Like, you can just, I don't understand. Like, you can just see the conflicts that are coming.
But relatable though, right?
Yeah, for 100%. 100%.
I thought it was funny. I know the show's been done for a minute, but I just think it was kind of funny, like in our political climate right now. This is not a political commentary, but it just like you have people on opposite sides of the spectrum here, and your family, and you get together, and it's worlds, what's the word? Clashing. I don't know. It's just
100%. It's very timely, and also kind of a tale as old as time.
Yeah, for sure.
Katie, who is one of the daughters, who's played by Holland Roden, who I just adore, she bounces. She does not feel welcomed by this family. She does not feel comfortable. And so she goes to her boyfriend's house, and there's beef with the Minetti Hanahans and her boyfriend's family, who happens to be a neighbor. My favorite scene is, though, the mom, Connie, is played by Virginia Madsen. She comes out and presents contracts to the family because their behavior sucks. And she's like, "We're not fighting, we're not drinking, we're not arguing, and sign it or else." And they do not hop on board with this plan.
I was actually really sad for her because they just basically laughed in her face. And they were like, "Okay, yeah." And they didn't sign those contracts. They went outside to light the house up or whatever. But I was like, I felt really bad because she just wants like a nice, memorable. And I think she says the line later, like a Hallmark movie, Christmas, And so I feel bad for her.
I felt for her. This is 100%. Like, I want order. I want calmness. I want people to be following the rules. Would I ever bring out a contract? Probably not. But would I want my family to like agree to basic decency? Yes. And that's not what we're getting here.
Yeah.
They do light the lights. It's very, I mean, they're like leaning in. I don't think it's accidental to the Christmas Vacation Griswold comparison. The lights go up, they blow a fuse, and in a true Hallmark moment, Chuck says, "Oh, fudge."
I thought that was really funny. And also, I would like to note, I did not think that their lights were like overly obnoxious. I thought their Christmas lights looked beautiful.
Yeah, I thought their house looked nice.
Yeah, the neighbor was pissed like at that it was going to be like too much or too overboard or creeping onto his side. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Let people be what they're into. If they want to like crazy light their house up, let them.
How is it hurting you if your neighbors have Christmas lights, more lights than you do?
Yeah, I don't know.
Let people live, man.
Hopefully they'll dig into that a little bit more about like what the beef is between these two neighbors.
Yeah, it's obviously deeper than Christmas lights. They're just finding things to be annoyed. So speaking of the beef, we're talking about the Camarena family. And this is the Minetti Hanahans and the Camarenas apparently have issues with each other, which is going to be compounded by the fact that their son Bert is dating the Minetti Hanahan daughter, as mentioned, played by Helen Rodin, Katie. And the beef kind of exists on like several levels, right? Like we know that there's like this generic family issue going on, but we also learn that the Camarena daughter, her name's Gabby, played by Noemi Gonzalez, when she finds out her brother is dating Katie, there's like high school flashbacks, and it's like gives like Mean Girl vibes. Like, was this girl your high school bully? Like, she's not happy about it.
This was nicely done.
Yeah, those like cut-ins coming down the stairs.
When Katie's walking down the stairs. Yeah, it was great. Nicely directed by Stacey N. Harding here.
I 100% agree with you. And another person I felt bad for, like Gabby comes in and she's so excited because she's like, I'm auditioning for this cooking show. And her parents are like, yeah, and your brother has a new girlfriend.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt like the brother is the favorite child. And she's just trying to like have her life as acknowledged and celebrated as his is. Is that the vibe you got?
Megan's feeling triggered, I think. These movies and shows lately are really hitting home for you, huh?
Well, to be fair, I do not think my parents have favorite children, but I think everybody with siblings can relate to the fact that it is virtually impossible to parent your children fairly. Like equality, the way that your kids are going to view it, like fair is not a achievable goal.
Right.
You're going to parent them differently because they're different people, but
well, I did feel bad for her too, because like even Gabby she explains to her parents, that girl was mean to me in high school and her family has weaponized Christmas lights. Like, what is happening here? And they are just like, oh, it's no big deal. Like I feel for Gabby. Her feelings are not being, what is the word I'm looking for?
Acknowledged, heard.
Acknowledged, yes. She's not being heard.
Present day Katie seems to be nothing but lovely. She doesn't seem to be, I think Gabby can read her behavior as maybe like trying to undercut her, because at one point like Gabby's cooking a souffle and you know, Katie comes in and she's like, I got garlic knots, and they're like, no souffle. I'm like, why not both? Porque no los dos, make them both. It's the holidays. And then later on, we get a karaoke scene, and Katie signed her and Gabby up to sing a duet. And I think you can read this in two ways. Like, is Katie trying to embarrass Gabby, or is she trying to have like this fun moment with her?
Yes, but talk about embarrassment. I had secondhand embarrassment watching this karaoke scene.
Did you?
I mean, like Katie Holland Rodin like really leaned into it, and I was like, I don't know. I just felt weird watching it.
And then Gabby falls off the stage.
Gabby falls off the stage. Yeah, it was like just a hot mess.
And then to add insult to injury, this family does give Katie Gabby's room.
Yeah,
they're like,
she's
had a rough night. She can sleep there. And poor Gabby has to sleep on the couch while she's looking for a blanket. Uh-oh. She finds an engagement ring.
Yeah, that would just be... Well, I mean, is Gabby going to die if this is going to be her sister-in-law? But can you even imagine Imagine these two families. We talked about it in Christmas with the Sings. Talk about these two families
Yeah.
coming together.
There's not going to be an easy acknowledgement of, sure, we can do things your way. Let's compromise.
Oh my gosh, no.
Next up, we have the Lewin family. And the Lewin family is dealing with, they've got divorced parents / grandparents, and they're trying to balance like everyone's coming to town. So the main couple in the Lewin family are Mike and Jennifer, played by Jeffrey Joseph and Robin Fanfare. And as we mentioned earlier, Dennis Haysbert is in this series, and he plays Jennifer's dad. And he's like kind of curmudgeonly. He comes to town like, they're like, oh, look at all the presents. He's like, what else am I supposed to do at Christmas, y'all? Like, of course I'm going to bring all the presents. And they're trying real hard to make him happy. And the son-in-law has bought him scotch, try and take the edge off. And do you want to tell everybody what his reaction to that was?
That line was so funny, and I had to Google it because I didn't know what it meant.
Oh,
I've never heard this before, but he says like, "Oh, I don't drink scotch because it gives me the winds." WINDS. And I was like, "What does that mean?" It means like if you're 3 sheets to the wind.
oh, it does? I thought it meant
Yes.
gassy.
Oh, no. It says it's a reference to being like 3 sheets to the wind. That's what I found on Google last night.
Interesting.
And maybe it does make him gassy. I don't know.
This says gas in the stomach.
Oh, it does?
Someone ate or drank something which made them gassy and fart a lot.
I don't know. Look,
Either way.
search came. Oh, actually, you know what? You know how Google is like when you Google something now and then a little AI
Oh, yeah.
comes up? That's where it gave it to me.
Oh, oddly, I'm not getting an AI overview on this search. Interesting. Well, it means one or the other. I read it as gassy. Maybe it makes him completely obliterated. Jennifer's mom is played by Loretta Devine, who apparently doesn't age. I would like to know what her skincare routine is because she's looked the same forever. And she's real secretive about her new boyfriend. And because I knew the cast of this show, I was like, oh my gosh, I know what's coming. First of all, we get a line in this show that I was like, excuse me. How?
Miss in the back bedroom in case we make noise.
How? They show up. Grandma shows up with her boyfriend. And out walks Sir Darius Blaine, who is probably younger than daughter Jennifer here. And
Oh, at least, yeah.
that's the button on that scene. Please be the Uber driver is hilarious.
Wasn't that so funny? He's like, please be the Uber driver. Please be the Uber driver. It was hilarious. And I love that Dennis Haysbert's character is just like, smiles and shakes his head. Like he's like unfazed by it, or he's telling us he's unfazed by it. Like she is someone else's problem now. I am curious to see how this is going to play out.
Well, the adult children are so nervous about mom bringing her new boyfriend, and she thought the mom had told the dad that she was dating, so she was nervous to have to tell him. And he's like, it's no big deal. Like, we've been divorced for 3 years. It's fine. But I can understand as like the children trying to like manage everyone's moods that they're like,
Yeah.
oh God, this is not ideal.
Totally.
Let's move on to the Hill family. Hello, Ian Harding is all I would like to say here.
Oh my God. For real. Like, look, I enjoyed him in The Magic of Lemon Drops this summer. I enjoy him. I liked him since Pretty Little Liars. There is something about this role, though.
Yeah.
I am drawn to him. I am not alone because his name is being talked about a lot in the Facebook groups.
So this is Ian Harding appears to be an only child. He's coming home to visit his parents, played by Gwyneth Walsh and Barry Levy. And he has an off-screen girlfriend who we do not meet until episode 2. But, the vibe of this family is like, his parents are just like happy living their life. They don't need like the newest, fanciest technology. And he's like trying to bring them into the future. Let me give you a bread maker. Let me give you a Pilates reformer. Let me give you this weird power bowl full of sprouts. And they just kind of like smile and nod at him. I kind of feel bad for everybody in this scenario.
Yes.
Because I'm like, these parents have this kid who doesn't understand them. Like almost doesn't like who they are by the way he's constantly trying to change them. Like, you guys have to be better and newer, and it's not working for me. And they kind of just like almost tolerate him.
That's so funny that's I see it more as like he wants to help make their life easier.
Yes.
And therefore, like, here is this like blender that's going to make it easy for you. This bread maker that's going to make it easier. I'm worried about your health. Here is a Pilates reformer to, whatever.
Yeah, I think that's a good perspective. But at what point do you look at it and be like, they're just living their lives? Like, maybe I need to step off.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic here.
We know that Josh has this big plan. He and his girlfriend are moving to Australia to like launch their business. He's just in town for a little bit. And while he's in town, he breaks the law and gets pulled over by Cop Nora.
Sheriff Nora.
I just am loving Erin Cahill. We're getting so much Erin Cahill these days. Autumn in Apple Hill, Finding Mr. Christmas. I find her quite charming. And it like starts off, he's real contentious with her. And then his parents are like, it's like an interesting conversation because they're like, oh, she's married, had a son. And he's like, oh. And they're like, and she's widowed. And he was like, oh. And so he kind of like takes on the role of like, oh, now I got to be nice to her. He kind of comes around once he realizes like she's a widowed single mom, right? He changes his tune. He like goes in and like pays the ticket without argument. He kind of like is starts off like a little kindness towards her son. How do you feel about his motivation, though, for behaving that way?
I don't think... Are you suggesting that he was motivated, like he was trying to get out of his like ticket and stuff?
No, I'm suggesting like he's a good guy because he learns that like her life has been challenging. But I kind of am like, maybe you could just be like a good guy overall. And I think, I think he wins me over.
Well, he definitely wins me over as well, but I think there is... Okay, let me find the right words here. I mean, he is who he is. At least he's not like a total asshole when he's like, I don't care that she's a single mom or a widow or whatever. Like, it's redeeming. It's so... Do you know what I'm trying to say?
No, yes. Yeah, that is a good point. And I think it is important that he does be like, I got to check myself here. Like... Maybe I don't need to like come in hot every time I disagree with the way someone behaves.
Right. Otherwise, he's just a boring character.
True.
He's just like Mr. Nice Guy. So like, okay, let him learn from his mistakes here. And even I think his dad says, feelings are pretty good teachers.
Oh my gosh. It's my favorite line. He's like, oh, I feel bad. And dad says, sometimes, son, feelings are good teachers. I really love the dad. He has a couple like real quiet moments of sending a very clear message.
Yeah.
He's like, yes, son, you were a dick. Anything else about this family? Who leaves their car and drive? Although I did leave my car on and walk away from it once, so I guess I can't.
Who leaves their car and drive? My husband last year in Boston when he...
Did he?
Into somebody. Yes.
Oh, at the hotel.
Yeah. She got out of the car. The car was still in drive. Another car.
I did not realize that was the catalyst for that event. Because our cars don't have keys anymore. I have gotten out of the car with my car running before. So, and then I'm like, why isn't it locking? That's why. Okay, so
well, here, try driving a Tesla where you don't have to turn it on and off. And it sounds so douchey. Sorry. Yes, my husband drives a Tesla, and so when he drives in my car, which you do have to push on and off, like he always leaves it on. I'm like, you have to turn it off.
Look, I can understand that muscle memory. Every time I get in my husband's car, I accidentally turn on the windshield wipers instead of putting it in gear because a fire hydrant accident does set us up nicely for the next episode because she's like, it's destruction of property. It requires a court date. And he's like, please let me do community service. She miraculously gets a judge on the phone, gets a judge who doesn't know anything about this case to be like, sure, man, whatever you want, sheriff.
Whatever you want.
He gets community service.
Yeah, of course, this sets up for episode 2, which we will talk about. I have lots of thoughts about.
Indeed. We meet the Lynn family. And Ted and Marcus are in town. They are engaged. And dun, 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 Grandma, also known as Nai, does not know that Ted is gay. And their entire goal is don't kill Grandma with this shocking news.
Did you think I couldn't believe here we are on Hallmark again? Grandma doesn't know I'm gay. I couldn't believe that was the line. Definitely was a first.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Had to have been, right? They actually said gay out loud on Hallmark.
Well, and the funniest thing is they sent her away to try and avoid Grandma. Like, are you just hoping she dies before the wedding? What is happening here? Of course, she spoils their plans. She decides to stick around for Christmas and misreads the situation, assuming daughter Ella, who's like, I'm never getting married, is in fact the one who is engaged to Marcus, played by Shauna Met.
Yeah. This is super interesting, this storyline here, and relatable, I think, to a lot of families. Did you notice how much champagne this family drinks?
I didn't.
And they were
Popping bottles.
throwing it back. Talk about getting the wins. No, I'm just kidding. I was like, this family is hammered because their grandma came to town.
They're stressed out, man.
Yeah, it was really funny. I thought the mom was really funny. What is her name? Sharon Crandall. She plays Lois, and she was always like, Steve, book the flight. I thought it was quite comical.
Get your mom out of here.
That is her mom.
Our final family is the Woods family.
Lucy is a single mom, and they are in the diner, and
yeah, she's like flirting with the hot
them.
handyman. Yeah.
She is annoyed that her sister Sylvie is coming to town because she and her daughter like a low key like holiday, and Sylvie's nothing low key.
And unfortunately, we come home and Sylvie is trying to woo old handyman Cole. Now, look, Cole was giving Lucy the eyes in that diner, and Lucy's coworker, was like, maybe you need some other things done. And he's like, I'd be happy to come over and help you fix your window. I don't believe for 1 second that Cole is going to go for Sylvie. Obviously, this is just like a distraction moment. But I do understand Lucy being like, do you have to have everything?
Sure. Yeah, we're going to have to dig deeper in here. This is the one family that was not really explored a lot in this episode.
Agree.
Like, we don't know the history between Lucy and sister Sylvie. We don't know why Lucy is a single parent. I did think, though, there was kind of a suggestive line between the handyman and Lucy while in the diner. And maybe I'm the one with the dirty mind, but it was like he said something about like more milk in my coffee, and she is like a lighter skinned woman and he is a darker skinned woman. And I was like, am I reading into this?
Oh, interesting.
I don't know. But I obviously they're gonna get their own standalone episode, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
And so we'll know more here.
That is going to be a wrap on this very tangled web of meeting the families of Holidazed, Season 1, Episode 1. We will be back with a rundown. We're going to dive in to the hotness of Ian Harding in Episode 2, The Hill Family. Up next. Thank you for listening to this episode of Girls Gone Hallmark, a Bramble Jam podcast. If you love this podcast, we love your 5-star ratings and reviews. You can leave them in the podcast app of your choice. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, friends, before we go, just a quick heads up. You're about to hear some ads. These little gems help us keep the show running and the Hallmark love flowing. So do with that info what you will. Grab a snack, hit the skip button, or maybe, just maybe, listen in and discover your new favorite product. Bye.
This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. It's a season of wonder all the way at Nordstrom. You'll find the best gifts for everyone you love, including tons of ideas under $100, and gift experts to help. Wondering what to wear? They have everything from cozy styles to party perfect looks, along with free style help from their stylist. Plus, they'll help make your shopping easy with services like in-store order pickup, gift wrap options, free shipping and returns, and more. Discover the wonder of the holidays today in stores and at Nordstrom.com.
Okay.
This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. It's a season of wonder all the way at Nordstrom. You'll find the best gifts for everyone you love, plus party-ready looks for every occasion. It's easy with free shipping and returns, in-store order pickup, and more. Shop today in stores and at Nordstrom.com. This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. It's a season of wonder all the way at Nordstrom. You'll find the best gifts for everyone you love, plus party-ready looks for every occasion. It's easy with free shipping and returns, in-store order pickup, and more. Shop today in stores and at Nordstrom.com. This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. It's a season of wonder all the way at Nordstrom. You'll find the best gifts for everyone you love, including tons of ideas under $100, and gift experts to help. Wondering what to wear? They have everything from cozy styles to party perfect looks, along with free style help from their stylist. Plus, they'll help make your shopping easy with services like in-store order pickup, gift wrap options, free shipping and returns, and more. Discover the wonder of the holidays today in stores and at Nordstrom.com. This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. It's a season of wonder all the way at Nordstrom. You'll find the best gifts for everyone you love, plus party-ready looks for every occasion. It's easy with free shipping and returns, in-store order pickup, and more. Shop today in stores and at Nordstrom.com.